Welcome to our new series, the 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie. Soto and Chad here, and we are on episode 2 of our 200 Movie Challenge. Soto, can you believe we did 6 last week, or last time since we talked, which was actually last week, but I can't believe we watched that many in a week.
I know.
The
Much
big
more than I
thing.
thought we were going to.
This is true, and I did bank a few early. I kind of joked about it, but we did learn something, or more or less you did, to maybe watch some more random movies like I did. Every now and then just pull out something stupid. But
Which I did.
you did, and we're definitely going to discuss that. So for those who don't know or did not watch the first episode, we in this calendar year are watching 200 movies that we have not seen. Our goal is 100 each. We're probably going to actually surpass it. We'll see how things go. But
On this
Soto,
pace, yeah.
how do you think this is going so far?
So far, so good. I think that the only issue is that sometimes I want to watch movies that I've already seen. And then I have to be like, oh, but if I'm going to watch a movie I've already seen, I should take the chance to watch something I haven't seen. And so I'll kind of be like that decision needs to be made. Other times it's like, do I even have time to watch a movie? Like the weekdays are just, by the time I get home and Sarah gets home and it's like fucking 9 o'clock, uh, it's like, do I want to sneak a movie in? So really, it's been kind of relegated to the weekends where I can kind of get a few in and then days off too. I think two is a good amount for me right now. I think I told you that earlier. It's like two's good. I got my one in this week, and I'll sneak in the other one and maybe a movie that I've already seen before just for fun. But so far, it's been interesting.
Yeah, you actually got 3 in this week, which we're going to get to. I only got till 2, but I 100% agree. I know I have my evenings free, so I know I might actually get ahead of you a little bit on this to begin with, to start with. I know things
Yeah.
might change down the road, but so let's just get right into it. So we did 6 movies last week. I had you start
hmm
first last week. This
hmm
week, it's going to be me. And the reason being is my first movie that I saw is actually a movie that you've already seen. I know you saw this last year, and this is the first movie that both of us have kind of seen that we kind of discuss. I finally got around to seeing the movie Terrifier. Now, for those, there is a reason I finally had to see this, and I want to discuss this
hmm
before I get into this movie. Last year, we did a podcast with our friends Mel and Tengu, and we were talking about the Mount Rushmore of horror killers. And we talked about, obviously, Jason, Freddie, Michael, and we had a huge discussion. Then I made a fun little meme poking fun at our friends on TikTok, which blew up. But I realized a lot of kids, and I say kids, probably like 20, 30-year olds, kids to us, were bringing up Art the Clown, Art the Clown, Art the
Yeah.
Clown, Art the Clown. And I'm like, listen,
hmm
he's only been around 10, 11 years, whatever, since the very first Terrifier. I didn't even realize there's a little backstory in All Hallows Eve, which might come down. But I'm like, I need to check this out. If he is the new face of horror, if this is like
hmm
where the direction is going, I'm like, I'm just curious. And so do I saw this. Now, I will say this, and FYI to people watching this, there's going to be spoilers probably in some of the movies we talked about. Definitely spoilers on this movie because we both saw this. But the brutality of this movie,
Yes.
I was not fully expecting because I kind of went into this blind. I didn't know much about it. I just could not believe some of the kills, and I get why some people love it, and I
hmm
get why some people might not like this. It's not their style. But
It's
so
not for everybody.
I did enjoy it. I will admit, for what it was, I actually did enjoy this film. I'm not going to say I loved it. I didn't hate it, but I did enjoy it. But when you first saw this last year, what were your quick thoughts about it?
First of all, the dialogue in this movie is fucking atrocious. Okay, it is absolute. The beginning part of this movie or the setup or whatever, uh, minus Art the Clown taking a shit on some bathroom walls. Uh, I was like, my God, this was written by a child. It was so bad. But once it started getting into, like you mentioned, the over the top killings, then it started to kind of find its pace and it started getting more towards a horror movie pace as opposed to like an exposition pace. I started to enjoy it a lot more, and the impression that I was left with was positive, if that makes sense. So it definitely made me go. I definitely got it. It's a super iconic character. I will watch Terrifier 2 if I ever have over 2 hours to watch a horror movie. I don't remember the last time I watched a
A
2 hour
horror
horror
movie.
movie that wasn't Guillermo del Toro or some shit like that. And I know this is not directed by Guillermo del Toro, so I'm gonna have to like now plan out time to watch a 2 hour movie, something movie. I hear it's better. I hear it's got a better female lead, everything like that. But for this movie right here, again, it had the potential. I could see why it blew up. Bad first impression at the beginning for me, but overall, I thought that this was pretty good.
And I do agree with you. The actors outside of Art the Clown, it,
Oh my God.
you could tell that this was cheaply done, and I just mean there wasn't a big movie budget to it. Some things I did like, Art the Clown withstanding and the kills, is the fact that it takes place in one night, which I feel makes it easier to do a horror
Sure.
movie. It's something I hate to say more realistic, but you can find yourself, in the bad streets or the wrong streets of town, so to speak. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying you're going to come across Art the Clown, but some scary shit could happen. So I kind of always
Oh,
like this.
definitely.
I've talked about this many times. I kind of like simplicity, and the fact that it takes place in one night, I was great. This movie does fall in the same horror tropes. There's one scene where I forget her name, the main lead, she stabs him in the back, and I'm like, why don't you just go for the head? Like you now,
Hmm.
just like you have a chance to kill him. Because again, up until the end, I will say, I like the fact that he was just seemed to be this human character, this human person, and you wanted to learn more about him. We'll get into how this ended in real quick. So, but I'm just like, why not kill him? The second part I loved is how, again, a little bit of realism. The clown was getting his ass kicked, and
Yeah.
the one thing I did not expect out of watching many, many horror movies, the dude just pulls out a gun, shoots her.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God, that was
that is
funny.
smart.
That was
You just like,
funny. Yep.
it was. And I was like, oh, you don't, you take little things for that for granted. You see things like Jason, Freddy, they always come back. They're super strong. They're zombie like, there's reasons. I'm like, this is portrayed to be a human character. The fact he's like, I'm getting my ass kicked, fuck this girl. And he shoots her. I'm like, I like that. I'm like, again,
Yeah.
simplicity.
That was different.
Uh,
Yep.
so I like it, it ended and I was fine. And then we get to the end and they kind of obviously set up a more supernatural feel. And I don't know how I felt about that, to be honest. Again, like you, I will see Terrifier 2. Hopefully, me and you can watch it around the same time because then we
Hmm.
can kind of discuss it together. So that is on my agenda for this project. But overall, I'll be honest, I was fine with the kills, the brutality, like I cringed. It was good for
So
what it
over the
was.
top. It's
Uh,
it's so over the top.
it was. It reminded me of Hostel and stuff like that, but I was okay with that. But again, I get why people weren't. So Soto,
Yeah, it's just not like everybody's cup of tea. But to me, there was something cool about it. Those little touches and everything. It's a very sort of iconic movie franchise, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with horror tropes because they're there to
yeah,
to obviously as an audience, I feel like we have expectations. It's okay to fill those expectations, but then kind of build on them. But there were parts of this movie that surprised me. I was going into this movie thinking that I was going to hate it,
kind of the same.
and when it turned my opinion around, and that's not something that happens often when I watch movies.
No, and I agree with you. I see why this character has become more iconic, or I guess iconic for the new generation. I hate to say it because obviously we grew up on the Freddy, Jason, Leatherface era. But I could see why a lot of people like Art the Clown, and I am
Yeah.
very curious where this character goes in the next two
Hmm.
sequels. Because yes, there is a
Hmm.
Terrifier 3 as well.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
aware. I'm aware.
and But so no, the question now comes where I place this on my list, and this is hard.
Yes.
And this is kind of hard because when you get into different genres, and again, this is my personal list and my enjoyment. Um, but honestly, weirdly enough, I kind of just rank this right in the middle. Uh,
Okay.
it is right
Interesting.
below Clerks 3, above my old ass. We talked about. Again, not to hark back on Jim Henson and Clerks 3, there is a little nostalgia, so I liked it. Here's why, Soto. I feel like I could rewatch Clerks 3 again and enjoy it. I don't think I'm ever really going to rewatch Terrifier again. I will see the
Yeah.
sequels, but I don't think I'll go back. the kills are going to stick with me, and hence why I feel
Hmm.
like it's up there under, over like My Old Ass, which I did enjoy, but that is another movie I'm not going to watch again. So for me, this is, I know there's no numbers, but it's in between Clerks and My Old Ass, which right now would
Hmm.
be third in my list, but that's kind of where I rank it in my system at the moment. But I think that's just because the top two had more of a nostalgia. I mentioned why I love Jim
Sure.
Henson's Idea Man. I get why that might not be on top for others, but yeah. So Terrifier, that's where I rank it. So Soto,
Seems fair to me.
yeah. Again, these are our personal lists. There is no guidelines. It's just what we enjoy.